Welcome to another video. So for today's topic, we're going to be talking about tabletop exercises. Now, what are tabletop exercises? They are simulated scenarios designed to test an organization's response to various crises, particularly in cybersecurity. Think of it as a virtual war room where teams strategize and refine their crisis management tactics. So, in other words, tabletop exercises are like fire drills. You're getting multiple people involved in trying to understand how everyone should act, react, and what they should be doing during a time of crisis. People need to know they need to get out of the building. This is the way they need to go. They need to go and meet up with such and such group. Someone needs to take head count. That's what it is. Tabletop exercises, they also help organizations understand if there are any gaps in their processes and everything else like that. Because the last thing you want to do is get caught with your pants down when your company is going through a crisis. So I have an article here from CSO Online from a gentleman named Stephen Lawton. I apologize if I said your name wrong. But he wrote an article talking about the 4 tabletop exercises every security team should run. Let me move this up. And I already previewed this article, and I agree that these are the top 4 that probably need to be run all the time. And just like with fire drills get ran multiple times throughout the year. So I feel like these tabletop exercise topics should be ran multiple times per year as well. So let's get started. Let's go into the first one. So the first one he pointed out was ransomware. Now, ransomware is on the rise, and it's just wreaking havoc on everything that's happening right now in the United States, whether it's a individual person, a small business, or a corporation, hospitals, government, everyone is getting hit with ransomware. So think of ransomware as someone breaks into your house and they take your valuables and they tell you you need to pay to get everything back. And then you pay and you think you're good. And what does ransomware do? They come back and they rob you again. Right? Because you didn't spend all your resources trying to decrypt your data or get your valuables back. But then you don't have enough resources to go and rebuff up your defenses. And then that's why a lot of companies are getting hit multiple times from the same attacker. So running through ransomware will help companies understand things that they need to do to make sure that they don't run into these situations going forward or have a better way of handling them. Because at the end of the day, right, you don't negotiate with terrorists. So that's all I have to say about ransomware. He points out some more things in here and has some pretty good questions for you to ask. The next one is third-party risks. So this is vendors coming in and, understanding that sometimes it's not you that's getting compromised. It's your neighbors that are getting compromised. So imagine you're like a neat freak in your house. You're cleaning up because you don't want to see any bugs whatsoever. But then your neighbor could be super filthy. And then all the bugs and critters and everything else, the smell comes over to your house, right? You've done everything you're supposed to do, but your neighbors are the ones that's compromising everything there. So in that situation, you have to go through an exercise. What happens when we're compromised through somebody else? I like to bring up video games and like anime and like other shows and stuff like that, where people will go jump in the river, then all of a sudden, they got a parasite that's coming up their arm or whatnot, and then just chop their arm off. Because sometimes you need to just cut off a part of the body to save the rest. So this is what the tabletop exercise is going to help you do, is go through the process of, is the situation manageable and we can keep the vendor, or do we need to cut this whole vendor off and go find somebody else. All right. So moving on to the next point, we got insider threats. I felt like this should be number 2, but I don't think he put this into a particular order. I think he's just mentioning them. But insider threats are tricky to deal with, but at the same time should not be neglected. There needs to be a process put in place for handling these types of crises. So that can be a disgruntled employee who gets fired, but they take all the company secrets and they go over to a competitor. That could be somebody who keeps continuously clicking on links and stuff like that. So just understanding how everyone should work together to prevent the wide scale loss of an insider threat is also a good way as well. Because a lot of times, HR departments, talent departments, AD and everyone else like that, they're probably used to just getting a ticket in their box saying remove this person or, cut off this email or something else like that. But for everyone to see what all gets done when you're dealing with an insider threat will just make that process much better and much easier. And then the last point here is distributed denial of service attacks or DDoS attacks. So actively being attacked is definitely a tabletop exercise that companies need to run through. This may kind of stay within the IT department itself. It may not involve other departments, but it might be a good way for other departments to see what's going on when there is an outage. Your server that is supposed to be generating revenue gets attacked or brought down or something else like that, right? Just understanding what these different devices do and what impact that they have and who all needs to be involved, who all needs to be notified when these things happen it will help the company out better in the long run. So, just want to bring up Stephen Lawton, preach the article, my guy. But when we're looking at tabletop exercises, and plus there's plenty of other exercises that need to be done, but I really feel like these are the 4 most prevalent ones because you have ransomware, which is definitely hurting the country right now. You do have vendors because everyone is not producing their own product. They're using everybody else's stuff to build up their company. So, you have different people inside of your house. And then you have insider threats, like your users, your employees, your customers. Like you have people that have inside knowledge. What happens when they take all your stuff and they leave. Then you have DDoS, or in other words, an outage in general. What happens when certain things happen? Is data being lost? Do you have backup servers? Do you have anything else additional in order to help bring things back online as fast as possible? Because time is money, and truth be told, if your servers that are generating you millions of dollars per year goes down, yes, time is definitely money. So that's the video, guys. I hope you guys found that informational. If you liked it, follow and subscribe. Let me know if you had any tabletop exercises within your company and if they were successful or unsuccessful. Or once you drop down into the comments any other scenarios you feel need to be in a tabletop exercise. And I would have put a 5th one, phishing, as its own category all by itself, but that could be a topic for another day. But until then, this is Brian with Techmocracy, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.